What's up, everybody? Welcome to Filming in Progress. I'm your host, Jarrell Washington, with my guest. Oh, wait. Not my guest. I'm sorry. You're not a guest. You're the co-host.
I'm the co-host.
My bad, y'all.
I know you gestured at him, and I'm like...
See, she's a new
Tatiana's a new co-host. Yep.
And our lovely guest. Please introduce yourself like we usually do here.
Hello. My name is Tatianna Rodriguez.
And what do you do, Tatiana? Tell us what you do.
I am a production coordinator.
Is that all? Do you do anything else? I feel like I heard you do some plumbing shit here and there too.
Some plumbing shit?
Do you plumb too?
I mean, sometimes if it's like getting the hair out of the shower drain, I can pour some Drano down the drain.
I feel like that counts as a plumb.
Drano's very scary. I'm like, if this gets on my skin or my face,
Here you go.
Or in your eyes.
You listen.
or in your eyes,
Or if you swallow it.
Why
Have you
on
read the label?
or if you inhale it too much.
Why would you hold Drano up above your shoulders in the first place?
Let's say the toilet's clogged and you're putting it in there and then it splashes from the toilet.
Oh,
on
I
your
didn't
face.
know it extended to toilets.
Yeah.
Dissolves the
Everything.
the shit in the
Sometimes.
toilet.
Oh my goodness! But thank you so much, Tatiana, for joining us today. We really do appreciate you
Thank
coming
you for
down.
having me.
So here we talk about obviously filming in progress is your progression throughout this industry that we're in, this crazy industry that we're in, and how you've gotten to where you're going and how you're getting to where you're going and all those kind of things. So tell us where'd you start? How'd you start?
How did I start? So originally, I mean, I've always known that I wanted to be in, one of the industries, whether it was music or film. And so growing up, my dad and I kind of worked and volunteered at a radio station. So he'd take me out of school and we'd go up to the radio station and kind of watch the bands and the artists as they came through. And I started he would do pictures and I would do video.
That's
We started
lucky.
doing concert and just kind of general music, photography and videography. I was like, okay, well, I can't sing, I can't perform, and filming is a lot more fun. So let's start there. And so in high school, I really kind of got into it, and it was just all uphill from there. I
So
knew
you started
that's
in
what
high
I wanted.
school?
Yeah.
Wow. See, I heard that there are some high school programs that have whole film, Missouri Western's film program. Well, before it got thrown into shambles. Sorry, I did say that.
I thought it got revived.
It's basically a post-production program now. I'll put it that way.
That's kind of cool, though.
It is, but yeah, sure. Anyway, past the point.
And that's what I did. I did one of the high school programs where you spend half of your day in film class and then the other half in the rest of your classes. So
Bro.
The last 2 years of high school, I spent half my time doing film stuff.
That's awesome as fuck. So she's been in it for a whole lot of water.
Yeah, not necessarily professionally, but at least, narratively.
Right.
So you knew at a young age that you wanted to do
Yes.
film.
Yeah. I would say I knew by the time I was in middle school, it would either be music or film. And then by the time I was 16, I was like, yep, it's film.
Nice. See, I can relate to that because I wanted to make music and film since I was 8 years old. I knew it. I was like, yep, I'm going to make movies and I'm going to make music. And I would take my parents' camera and make little songs. I had the chicken pox one year. So I was in the corner of the house.
I love this story.
Nobody my mom would come and drop off food. And I was on a little rollout mattress. And I asked her if I could borrow the camera. And I made a whole original song called Nobody Loves Me.
Oh.
I was 7 or 8, and it was me recording myself, and I wrote the song, and I still have the video somewhere. But yeah, I was yeah, I guess from a young age, I was yeah, I'm gonna be a musician or entertainment.
And see, I can see that half and half because I used to love the whole videography thing. Me and my cousin would try to make music videos and whatnot. I tried to recreate the Bow Wow basketball video. Yeah, I tried to recreate that. It didn't go well. But anyway, past the point. That was when and then I started rapping. And so entertainment was fun in high school, but I never even remotely thought of film as a career or anything like that. It wasn't ever a drive. Acting was sort of kind of a thing. I used to perform. Me and my sister we redid the what was it? I think it was a Titanic scene. We did a Titanic scene, and then we riffed and didn't even know the actual words.
That's funny.
But no, that's all. So your dad would literally take you out of school just to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
a cool
I
dad.
looked at when I left high school. I looked at my total absent days for the past few years of high school, and it was 56.
Dang.
How many days are in a high school year?
I don't know.
Does anyone ever know that?
Probably I don't know. It's too much math.
I think just enough, and especially when I was like kind of leaving already for a half day, I think it was just enough to kind of slide under the radar, so they weren't like your daughter's kind of being like, we're in delinquency now. Like, where are you?
I was tardy.
Where's your child?
I never like missed full days, but I was like, like 2 hours late to school.
Why?
I don't know. I just like sleeping
High school or just
high school, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And like I had classes where my teachers were super lenient. Like I had foods the first class, and
like home ec.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So like she was super cool if I came in like an hour late. Like she was like, "Oh, Isai, glad
What
you
the
made
hell?
it." And she wouldn't count me as
Were
tardy.
you on a block schedule?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. See, that's why I didn't have a block schedule.
You like 8 classes a day or something?
Yeah.
Ah.
It was 8 o'clock. The first bell was like 8:25, and then lunch was middle period. There was 3 lunches, and I think we even added a extra class my last year. I think there was 9 afterwards.
So Tatiana, whenever you were in high school, like was the next step for you like go to film school or like start working like for a company, interning? What was kind of your thought process?
Well, I think at that point I knew what I wanted, but I didn't necessarily know how to get there. And I knew my parents really wanted me to get an education, and I wanted to have that kind of college experience too. And so I was kind of shopping around to see what film programs there were, and I saw KU, and I was like, that'll do. And I mean, I've never really been interested in school. So it was mostly just what can I do close by that's like just enough to where I can learn what I need to learn and then get out. But I mean, looking back, I don't think I've used much of anything that I learned in my film classes in what I do now. It's all just been kind of experience. But I mean, even in college, I was really only there for like 2 years, because starting my sophomore year, I got an internship at a little documentary production company, which is where I met Jackson. And whenever I wasn't in class, that's where I was. And so after a certain point, I would just go to class, drive to Overland Park, go back to my afternoon class, and then drive back to Overland Park. It was just kind of like I had to be there for those classes, and then if I wasn't there, I was in Overland Park working at that documentary production company. So
wow.
I feel like I really only got like 2 years of like college, and then it was just kind of a hassle at that point.
Did you drop out or did you finish?
I did not. I finished, but
Congratulations, though.
Thank you.
Congrats.
The pandemic was, I shouldn't say it was like, oh, fuck yeah, like now I can move home and work all the time, but it was a little bit. When they canceled the last semester, I was like, now I don't need to drive every day. I can just
Oh, wait,
work.
you were just recently in school.
I graduated in 2020.
What? So you were PA and like
This is new to me, America. I'm sorry. I thought she was past college already. Like 2,
how
3
old are
years.
you?
24.
Damn. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Crazy.
So you were PAing like a lot while you were in school. Or-
Yeah. Or not necessarily PAing. Like I wasn't going around to like all of like the companies that like we all started PAing for around town. It was strictly just this little documentary production company. So I was an intern, and then I was hired as a production assistant, and then it kind of just became more and more to where I was kind of production coordinating / just a little bit of kind of like assistant producing, associate producing on some of those later shoots.
Nice. That's awesome.
And then when I graduated, I was like, okay, now I'm going to branch out, and I quit. But I quit in the middle of 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, and it was a rude awakening because there was no work.
I was delivering pizzas that summer.
I went back to Home
And I was
Depot.
freelancing for like a year and a half. And then I was like, well, I got to do something. So I applied at KC Kitchen, and I was delivering like night shifts, like from like 8 p.m. to like 4 a.m. That was my shift.
It's still crazy that's about to be like 2 years ago now. Or it is really 2 years ago that happened.
This summer, yeah.
Wow. And look where we're at. Not a damn thing's changed.
Nope.
So you worked your way up. You went to, wait, hold on. What was your KU experience like in their film program? I want to ask people this. Like, people who go to KU, they all have a different experience in the program, because I know we've all kind of went to different programs in film and all that. So, like, what was your experience like?
Well, I kind of wish that I would have been more involved because, I mean, when you go to film school, you kind of come up with your peers and you do these projects with them and you're able to kind of build these working relationships that last long after you graduate. And so since I made the decision to spend a majority of my time working at this other company, I really wasn't there to kind of form and kind of nourish these relationships with classmates. And so I really just did the time, did what I needed to do. And half the time I really wasn't even there mentally. Like I would bring hard drives from this company and I would just go sit for the attendance. And I'd be on my laptop working on my hard drives, doing whatever I needed to do, editing. So I feel like I really wasn't completely there to get the full experience. And because I did film in high school, that got me all of my electives. And so I didn't have to do
So you were kind
a
of
ton
ahead.
of. Yeah, I was ahead. And since I was kind of ahead, I got a degree in journalism too. So I was there mostly in my later years for a lot of those journalism classes, and I kind of finished up film a lot earlier. But again, I didn't really learn much of use for me now. I enjoyed the classes. I had really great professors. I love the people. But I have not used my degree. So I guess
It's fair assessment.
I guess I'm kind of neutral on it.
Fair assessment.
I would do it again. I like college. I liked being there.
I think all of us like. I mean, I definitely like college.
I love college.
I would have loved to gone back.
That's where I met Jarrell. I met him in college.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And we weren't even like that close, really. Like we were cool, but like it wasn't until I left, till I dropped out, that we got close.
Yeah, it wasn't like I hit E up after I was in the hokey, y'all. After I got out of jail, I hit E up and we went to Poncho's and got some food and just like relinked. And even then it was still just kind of like hit or miss because I was still in St. Joe.
Yeah.
It wasn't until
And I was still trying to figure out what the hell I was doing with my life.
Yeah.
I was like,
we both just stayed connected.
yeah.
And then I moved to KC and you were like, bro, we got to just start doing shit.
Yeah, when you moved to KC, I was like, let's do it. Let's work on stuff.
Work on stuff. So, so you recently, I don't want to say it in a bad way, but you recently just left a certain place. How was your actually, we'll start this way. How was your experience from transitioning from PA when you started PAing again and then transitioning straight into corporate and straight into full-time production?
Should I omit company names? Should I
That's
just
fine.
say said production company?
I mean, I'm wearing it. It's fine.
Your
I
flashlight's on.
don't mind the company. I like the company.
Oh, I love the company. Yeah, let's go for it. Let's do a little name dropping. So let's see. I finally started getting PA work August of 2020, and then I started working a little bit for Bic Media, which is a company around town who is now known as Art Class. I think I did one shoot. I did Missouri Lottery. I did one of their Christmas spots.
I remember that because
Yes.
I was locations assistant on that.
And I was crafty.
Yep. She was in the back of this van handing out crafty, bro, because it was so cold.
It was cold and it was raining that morning.
Yep.
And it was pouring when I got there. So I loaded everything up in the back of my mom's SUV and I was just serving coffee and like I was sitting in the trunk all crunched up. Like, you want a coffee? You want an orange?
That was my
Yeah.
introduction to Tatianna right there for the first time.
And then I got in trouble because I left a cooler like out by set. Because set was like far away and my little home base for Crafty was kind of far away. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, we'll leave this cooler and I'll walk around and I'll offer people snacks. And then like somebody came over the walking, they're like, who left this cooler? This is not COVID safe. And I was like, fuck, that's me.
Wait, was that Melissa? Was Melissa on that job?
Melissa was. Yeah, that was where I met Melissa. I met Melissa and Amber on that. And then I'd worked with Tom Hip a couple of times before that. So it wasn't Melissa who got mad at me.
told me about you too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was Tom who talked to me about you. Told me you were a good.
Shout out to Tom.
Tom Hip.
Love Tom.
You still got to get Tom on here, guys. It's gonna happen someday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it came from one of the clients or agency, one of the higher ups, but it trickled down and then I got in trouble and I had to go roll my cooler away.
I mean, is that the most trouble you've ever gotten into as a PA though?
As a PA, I'm trying to think of all the times I've really fucked up. I don't think I fucked up ever that bad as a PA, and usually as a production coordinator, I think if I've fucked up, I've been able to fix it before letting anybody know.
That's why we're good at our jobs.
Yeah. And like now, at least like if you book travel and you mess it up, like you can change it really fast and nobody's the wiser.
Mm-hmm. I've definitely fucked up flights before.
But anyways,
Yes.
I did that one shoot, and that's where I met Mr. Johnny Eastland.
Shout out to Johnny.
Shout out to Johnny.
I miss you, man.
We miss you.
He's not dead. He just moved.
He's not dead.
Yeah, he's not dead.
He
Sorry,
just
guys.
moved to
He
LA.
just moved out.
Should have clarified that.
He's dead to us.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Love you, Johnny.
Love you, Johnny.
But anyways, I met Johnny there, and then he started hiring me as a PA for like Planet Fitness, which is where you and I started doing a lot of work together. And then he hired me kind of permalancing is what he called it. So it was more of like a month-to-month thing, like just kind of being on retainer for stuff. So I started working as a production coordinator for BIC, and then they became art class. But it was a pretty big jump to go from PA to production coordinator so quickly. And it was very much a learn as you go, kind of jump on a moving train and just kind of figure it out as you go. Hold on tight and you figure it out as you go. And I really appreciate that kind of being his teaching style too. Like he's very much a throw you to the sharks and watch you sink or swim. And I swam.
That's what I love about Johnny too. He's very, what's the word? He doesn't push you, but he pushes you without pushing you. If there's a word for that. Like
yeah.
I didn't. There was times where I thought I was fucking up, and he would come over and just be like, "You're doing a great job, by the way." I'm like, "Oh shit, okay," and it would just drive me to keep working as hard as I was already working. So like, big shout out to Johnny, man.
And positive reinforcement, especially as you're coming up, is such a big thing, and I really try to kind of give that to my PAs and anyone that I hire now, because I mean, being a PA is a really thankless job, as we all know, and it's easy to feel like you're fucking up and that you're not doing a good job, and because everybody's already on their own train of thought and they all have their own things to focus on, and so it's really easy to kind of lose sight and to forget that, you know, they're working really hard too. So
something as small as a cooler, you feel like that's the end of the world because of that cooler. Like,
yes, yeah.
I never cared that much. When I was PAing, I was like, man, fuck this cooler. I was like, I'm like, sorry, like my bad,
But why? Well, I wonder why though. Was it because you knew that you wouldn't go into more production?
Probably. I was like, I want to be in camera department. So I was like, if I don't get hired to be a PA anymore, like it's not the end of the world. Like I'll just get cool with like someone like an AC and second AC or whatever. But yeah, that's probably why. But I do remember. Who was talking? Michael Martin was talking about like how once you get kind of more in like the leadership roles on production, it's really more about managing people and knowing how to communicate with people than it is about like being on paper good at your job, because that's what gets you rehired. That's what gets your like name out there to have people like want to work with you. So I like that you said that, because it is positive reinforcement is very important for people, especially when as a production coordinator, I feel like your job is to manage people like a lot of the time. I mean, there's logistics and stuff, but like a lot of the time. But you got to kind of put out fires.
Keeping people happy.
Oh, yeah. The whole thing is problem solving and putting out fires, which is what I really like about it. Because, I mean, I started out at the very, very beginnings, you know, shooting, and then I kind of moved into production, which a lot of the time isn't as creative as shooting. There's not like a tangible product that I walk away with at the end of a project where I can say, look, here's what I did.
Right.
Because you just can't see it. And so that's why I really like art class too, is all of the creative projects that have come through have been
wild and crazy.
Puppets and horses and fireworks and fog
and CGI characters.
Yes.
And that's another thing. So like, you're the first person from art class that we've had on. I was trying to get Blair on. Still want to get Blair on. But what was that transition like? I don't think I've ever gotten to ask either of you guys like what that true transition was like when they said, hey guys, by the way, we're now this.
It was insane, because we went from having budgets of like the average budget being anywhere from like $30,000 to $50,000 to here's $250,000. So just the amount of coordination and collaboration that it takes to pull those off is just like nothing I had ever seen or experienced in anything before. And so, I mean, you compare like the stuff that we would do for like Planet Fitness, which was like a walk in the park compared to
literally a walk in the park.
Yeah. So it was insane, just the influx of work, because it's a lot cheaper to shoot things in Kansas City than it is to shoot them in LA or New York. And so just everything, all of the overflow from the LA kind of portion of art class and the New York portion just all came to Kansas City. And so we went from having like 2 or 3 projects, easy projects a month, to having like 6. And they were all just super big budget things that we would have to hire instead of going.
That's
we went from like a
crazy.
crew of 10 to like, okay, like Taco Bell, we had like 80 people on set.
Yes, we had that was a lot of people. That actually turned into
40
a lot
crew,
of people.
40 extras. And
That's
so
wild. What was the Taco Bell spot?
It was for the Fiesta Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it played during the Fiesta Bowl.
Oh, cool.
It was just kind of an action shot and all that. And then PlayStation was pretty big.
PlayStation was big too.
Um,
And I had no experience with like the DGA or SAG
Yeah.
or anything like that. And it, all of a sudden, because all of their directors are all DGA, they have all of these kind of signed directors that they work with. And so it was very much a crash course in everything from budgets and bidding to hiring crews and managing people.
payroll.
I think that's the biggest thing where I kind of messed up, not on time cards or payroll, but like just making sure with such a big crew that you keep everybody in the loop with all of the little changes that come from up top. Like
That's hard. Like you said, you went from, because a $50,000 budget is completely different than a $200,000 budget.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen a $200,000 budget, and sometimes that's not even enough. So yeah, that's hard.
yeah, just trying to keep everybody in the loop, making sure our department knows, okay, we're no longer shooting here. We're shooting here. This location fell through. And like a couple of the times, stuff like that has slipped through the cracks. And I'm like, oh my God. And they're like, what do you mean?
So for people that are watching this and maybe want to do like coordinator roles in production, what's kind of like the logistics or like tools that you've learned along the way? Like even just like how to communicate. Is it through text message? Is it through email? Is it through like Slack? Like when it's that big at that scale, like how do you even
I'm gonna let you
communicate?
answer that.
I very much like to keep everything in writing nowadays. So I guess it depends on what type of communication it is. I mean, the whole company worked through Slack, but with crews, it was mainly just emails and text messages. Emails just to keep all of the documents and kind of everything together, and then just texting like, hey, like when can we talk about this? Or just kind of little quick things like as they were going and like shopping or doing things like that. So I think email is definitely my favorite route of communication, because then I can sort everything into like little different folders and inboxes. Tools, I love Showbiz and Hot Budget, which are the budgeting tools that they use to kind of put together these bids. And it's kind of surprised me how much I like working with numbers, because I hate math. But it does all the math
But
for
when
me.
it comes to dollars, baby.
I hate math too. I sucked at math. I didn't pass my first math class until college, guys. And literally doing budgets, I love
I
that.
cheated in math class. Like I that's the only
Can't
way.
say, bro. Now that's one thing you can't say on the.
That's
air.
the only. I'm gonna be honest. That's the only way I passed math. Like I had friends that like would let me cheat off of their papers. I was like, I think I have like a learning disability when it comes to math. But like when it comes to dollars,
Just math though.
when it comes to dollars, I'm like, this isn't math. This is fun. Like this is like actual things. So.
Well, and it is. It's like a game. Like especially as like if you're like a producer and you're handed a bid and a budget, it's like a game. Like how can I do this? Where can I shift money around?
Yeah.
And how can I move money around to get a quality product, to have a good quality crew, and to not compromise that, not dock anybody's rates. Everybody has a good time while still kind of, I mean, the whole thing is the production company needs to make money. You got to come in at or under budget. So it's like a game. How can I do this in the best way possible in order to accomplish that?
Is that your favorite part too? Or what do you like about coordinating?
The hustle, in all honesty, because I feel like, because we're still a PA too in a way, so we're still constantly up and moving and running around too, just like anybody else. So like because I don't like, believe it or not, when I'm on shoots where I'm just like standing still, if it's like those Planet Fitness days, where like I had to just like get up, walk to the front of the building and walk to the back of the building just so I can feel like I'm doing something. So I love shit like were you on GEHA? No, you didn't do GEHA. That's right. Once I always refer back to this job because it was
That was a cool shoot though.
Yeah, it was a real cool shoot. Like the rain, the faking the rain, and all the Pat Mahomes stuff. But
that's the job you got the passes from Pepper
yeah,
Homes, right?
Yeah.
We gotta talk about that.
That got around so fast.
That got
Everyone's
around
like,
real
look at this video drop.
I didn't realize how quick that got around until it got back around to me. It's just like, what the fuck? Why am I getting sent my own video? But no, just that job specifically, it was such a rush from the moment like I met Ryan in the hotel room to the end to like going to the cast party and dropping off drives. Like it was just a rush from the start. And I love like I said, I love the hustle.
That's
It
awesome.
is a rush. It's like an addiction because you get all of these stress kind of hormones and
Your
all the
endorphins are
chemicals.
just
Yes, all the
flying.
endorphins, and much to my own detriment. Like I love it. Like Planet Fitness and like the last shoot that we did, we're moving out of that kind of North studio that we had. It was very much like Planet Fitness, and we were all just sitting there in the dark. And I was like, oh my God. Like I was doing jumping jacks in the back and like rolling around on furniture dollies.
Oh my God. That's what we would have to do for Planet Fitness. Like at one point, and this was everybody too. I think you were on because didn't I have you two
Yeah.
as
That's
PA?
where we met.
Yeah, 'cause that's where we met.
We remember Will and Dylan, everybody would just like
We do the
do the
exercises
workouts
with
with
them.
them. Like we got to just do it.
It was just so dark. That's what it was. Like there was literally like it was
Oh.
just nighttime 20 like for the whole 12 hours like day.
And we're sitting by the crafty table, and so we're just eating snacks in the dark, all the sugar.
with that
and we're
Edison
just-
bulb right there. Just
I brought my computer. I started editing. Johnny was like, "Hey, like,
no, bro.
don't do that." And I was like,
I know, and I'm just sitting there like, I'm like, I want to be doing something else so bad right now. I'm like, but I'm not.
That's
But
what
I
I
mean,
told
there's
you.
the difference is because that's not what you wanted to do, and I think Jackson's the same way. Like you knew that's not what you wanted to do, but for me, I was like, I want to work with this guy, so I'm gonna fucking sit here and I'm gonna pay attention and I'm gonna just take it.
Just take
Right.
it. Wait
Yeah.
till he tells me something else to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's yeah.
"Yeah."
So what was the so what was your favorite who was your favorite client that you got to work with when working in corporate?
My favorite clients are the ones that are easygoing and nice, because Johnny would let me kind of produce the smaller stuff, and so I kind of got a feel for what he does versus kind of what I do after he kind of delegates the things that come from the top down. So I produced something for like Missouri Lottery, and they were very easygoing. And then, we've also had clients who are a little bit more difficult and harder to please. And especially like on set when it takes up so much time to kind of just have that back and forth. Like, can you make it a little darker? Can that dog run? Can that
Decisions.
dog run this way and stop here and then bark? My favorite clients and agency are the ones that understand production on the same level that we do. But I think creativity wise, Wendy's is fun. They had us do like puppets and things like that.
Was that a fun shoot? Like I walked into that shoot and it just looked like y'all were just wilding out.
Yeah, they did so much ad-libbing to the point where like he was being like sprayed with a hose and it got kind of weirdly sexual and we had to tone it back.
Why? Why does it always
He was like, I'm soaked.
Oh my God.
It was
That's
weird.
gross.
It got weird.
That's gross.
Yeah.
And people are just and clients watching this too?
Yes. Yes.
Classic.
Classic.
Yeah. I think the ideal situation is to have clients and agency on Zoom, not there in person, who like what we're doing and who understand what we're doing. And
What's like a red
That's how it
flag?
works.
What's something like if they ask this question or if you like say this, like it's probably not going to go good for the shoot.
Can they smile differently? That was my pet peeve.
Who?
It was
Wait, like,
actually I'm
who
not
smiled
I'm not
differently?
I'm not even gonna go into the client or the shoot. But there was a client that specifically asked talent to smile differently.
Oh, if the talent could smile differently.
Yeah. And I knew then the day was gonna be a problem.
Ah.
And sure enough it was.
I think late creative changes or adding shots, like we had one who would just kind of like, here's our new storyboards, and they wouldn't mention it. You'd have to comb through and be like, there's a new shot. There's a new shot. Okay, so now we need a fifth location. Okay. Just late in the game, creative changes kind of is a red flag, because if you are well-versed in production, you know that that costs a lot of extra money and a lot of extra time. And especially if it's, like 4 days before we shoot it's gonna be a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And chances are it's not going to happen, or it's not going to happen the way they want it. And then they're going to bitch and complain.
And then you have to explain what you just said to them to where they understand it. And a lot of times they don't. A lot of times they're like, no, like, we should be able to do this, you know?
Yep.
And then they don't want to pay extra money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Classic client.
So we need a button for that too. We need a button for when classic. Is that you're gonna be your little catchphrase over there?
I can record it. So we got this new board. We haven't told anyone. We got
Actually, we got whole new equipment, as you can see.
check us out.
Everyone has headphones now. E's headphones are actually connected now.
I gotta admit, the last episodes they would just be dangling down, and I would just put them on to look cool.
We're gonna be honest with you guys. We were kind of budget over here. But yeah, we can. So what can we do with that again?
We can add sound effects for the next episodes. We'll throw like whatever noises we want. We can throw like a fart noise or like a duck, whatever we
We'll
want.
actually quack shit out.
Yeah.
I doubt we will still remember that. So Tati, I have to know, what's your progressive goal in the industry?
I feel like I'm still kind of figuring that out because originally when I was PAing, I was like, I want to be a producer, but I didn't necessarily knew all of what that entailed. And so, I mean, now that I've kind of gone through and I've done like a couple different things on several different projects, like I've gotten a lot of a feel for coordinating, a little bit for like production managing, and then a little bit for producing. And I guess it depends on where I end up, whether that's more of a film and television type of thing or if it's a commercial type of thing. And in my perfect ideal world, it would be film and television, but that would suck my life away.
But it's okay though. We like that. That's what makes us
I
great
know.
producers.
It's a love-hate relationship, but as I get older, I very much value having missed out on that. I very much value that work-life balance, and it's something that I've had to very much learn the hard way.
Yeah.
That you have to have that work-life balance, and I know it's a lot easier when you're younger and you can just go out to LA and work, and you can do it because you're young and you're fresh, but it burns you out.
For sure.
And I just want to have a life outside of my career. My career is really important to me. It's been like at the top of my priorities for the past several years, but I would like to pursue some hobbies, and I don't even know what those hobbies are. But like, I want to read a book. I want to do some more traveling.
We don't
like
have
another
time
van
for shit
trip.
sometimes.
Yeah, and like that's kind of where I'm at, and part of why I'm freelance again is I just missed out on that with such a huge influx of all of this work, and we just weren't equipped for it necessarily. Like Johnny and I did the work of like 6 people, and neither of us, I don't think, had very much of a life in the past 6 or 8 months, just trying to get it all done.
I mean, there's something to be said about like getting wise enough, and I guess the older we get, we realize it, but like the value of not trading your time for money, you know? And as we're young, like that's definitely what we're taught to do. It's like, oh, well, if I get 5 shoots this week, like I'll make this amount of money, you know? But the older I get, I'm like, yeah, like how can I stop trading all my time for money? Like how can I do, you know, not really less work, but like not like 12-hour days as much. Maybe it's like I get 2 or 3 projects that are way bigger and take like a week instead of like working like 20 days this month to get the same amount of money, you know?
Yeah, and that's what's tough about being on salary though, is like you don't get anything. Like you get what you get, and it's like, oh, you need to work Saturday and Sunday. You got 12, 16-hour days. Because I mean, I'll go as long as my PAs go, and so if they're doing 16-hour days, then I'm likely doing 17 or 18 to get there before them and to leave after them and make sure that they're done and that they're home. So it's just, especially if you're not, you know, getting that freelance rate, it's like it's not worth it to sacrifice and to work so hard and to not, you know, at least see anything monetarily for it. Not that money has always been important to me, because it's not. I'd much rather pick things based off of the creative and to just be happy doing the work.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just after a certain point, it's not worth it to be making a salary and to be working your ass off.
Yeah, it's like that balance of like security versus like having your own time. You know, like it definitely, sometimes in different seasons of our life, like one makes way more sense than the other. And yeah, being freelance is definitely a bigger risk, because like there's months like like this month, like all my shoots pretty much except for 2 like fell through. So like I'm like, okay, well, I got to figure out what to do with my time and like not panic about not having shoots this month, but like just like, okay, like let's figure out how to be productive, how to like, you know, do other stuff that is going to help me like with my fulfillment level and also like with my business. So I agree with that. And I'm kind of happy that you are freelance because now like I feel like you have way more time.
She's back at it now.
Very much, yeah, way more time, and I'm gonna take the rest of the month off, and I'll try not to be bothered when I come back in March if people aren't calling me, because that was when I first started and there was no work. Like I think I had like a mental breakdown, and Jackson had to like comfort me and be like, "It's fine, like it's we're in the middle of a pandemic, like give it time, like you're okay. You just quit your job, nobody even knows you yet, like it's fine." So I think I'm a lot better equipped to handle it now. As a kind of freelance coordinator, though I never freelance coordinated. But yeah, I'm excited. I mean, it was a tough decision for me to leave freelance PAing to go full time at a company because I knew I was going to lose out on that freedom of being able to take off and go somewhere for a month, like when we did our little van trip and things like that. I think Johnny really played a really big role in why I took that position, just to have that mentorship and to have such a close working relationship with someone I got along really well with.
Yeah.
Once again, he's not dead.
Once again, he's not dead. I'll see
Very
him.
much alive.
I'm going to see him tomorrow, so.
What? Brown, brown, cat's out of the bag. You about to go to L.A.? I'm
going
jealous.
To LA tomorrow. So we'll see if the snow messes me up. But, yeah, I fly out to L.A. tomorrow.
Oh, I can't go to New York, by the way.
It's all right. I always bought my ticket.
You did?
Yeah.
My parents are staying through the 6th, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now the whole podcast knows that. Great. Well, Tati, we appreciate you coming through.
Thank you so much again.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Wait, I asked her how.
Oh, your final.
Yeah, I asked her how she progressed, but how do you want to see the industry progress?
I would like to see the industry progress with more work-life balance, because, I mean, that's something that kind of hangs over my head is, do I want to stay here? Do I want to continue my career in Kansas City, or do I want to leave and branch out to one of the other major cities? But I know in both of those cities that the people are working just as hard, if not harder. And I think with the way things are now, and I mean, like, you have like the IATSE strikes and everything, like it's the work-life balance is just not there. So I would like to see the industry change to move more towards 10-hour days instead of 12.
Facts.
To have weekends off if you're, pulling longer gigs, and to just have more of an emphasis on work-life balance and not overworking your crews, underpaying your crews, just better treatment of overall your entire crew.
Producers of the future.
Yeah, I hope, like, because it kind of comes from it trickles, like, it does trickle down in the sense that, like, once producers or studios or companies realize, like, yes, we make more short-term profits doing these things, but long-term, like, we're not, like, it's not sustainable for the people that are, like, actually running it. So hopefully they realize, like, hey, yes, we'll lose a little bit of money short-term, but long-term it's better for us because it's more consistent. There's less controversy. People are happier. Like, you get what you put out, and whenever you are slaving people like that, like, you're going to get a lot of the same energy back. So hopefully the execs and everyone up top starts to realize, like, yo, if we treat people better, like, the projects will come out better, overall everything will be better. So I agree with you on that.
Yeah, and it's very much up to producers to kind of play that role and to be that advocate for their crews and to not cut corners in order to make themselves look better on jobs, to be like, okay, where can I cut this? Like I said, there's a very fine line, and it's like a game. Like, what can I do? How can I move money around to do it? But you got to do it without cutting corners and, hurting your crew.
That's the hard part. Well, thank you again so much.
Yeah,
we
thanks
really do
for having
appreciate
me.
it. Hey, everybody, this has been Filming in Progress. I'm your host, Jarrell Washington, with my new co-host, Tatianna Rodriguez.
I'm out of here. I'm going to LA to work 12-hour shifts and work my life away.
Going on strike too next month.
Going on strike too.
All right, everybody. Y'all have a great night. We appreciate y'all.
Peace.